Hello everybody, it is Stella from New Hope Wellbeing and we are back with another video. I hope everybody has been enjoying their week. It's a beautiful sunny day here today. So very happy to be seeing some sunshine, and I will be going out for a little bit of a walk once I finish recording this video for you guys. So we are discussing the next of our Sumerian gods, and this one is Isimud, I think it's pronounced Isimud. And he is the Sumerian god that was the trusted attendant of Enki, the god of wisdom and fresh water. He was known for his two-faced appearance. One is his role as a divine intermediary, which spanned realms, myths, and pantheons, and the other was leaving a timeless legacy of duality and communication. He was the messenger for not only Enki, but also the fastest deliverer of messages to all the gods. He was a devoted attendant of Enki, and his divine duties and symbolic presences are well documented. Yet when it comes to his family, his origins, siblings, etc., there's not a lot in the stories to tell us anything more about him, which leaves a lot of speculation and intrigue surrounding this particular god. In the scenes where Isimud is presented, he's shown to have been informing Enki, of Inanna's whereabouts. So when we covered off Inanna, we did go through her most famous myth, which was her descent into the underworld. So he was the god who reported to Enki what was going on with Inanna. So in the legend of Enki and Inanna, it shows how she becomes imbued with the power she is worshipped for in Sumer. While Enki is drunk from feasting, Inanna tricks her father into giving her several items and powers. One of those items being a majestic boat of heaven, and these powers being known as Mess. Isimud is ordered to go to Inanna and stop her from using the boat of heaven and bring it back to Enki. Isimud is sent by Enki a total of 7 times to confront Inanna about the boat of heaven, and the myth primarily shows Isimud's efficient and amenable work as a messenger and vizier. His tone to Inanna when he speaks with authority. He enforces the rules of Enki. He was a force of nature represented by the primordial deity, and as the Sukal, he himself has the qualities of Enki. Yet, despite legends showing him and his personality briefly, Isimud shows a deeper and more overlooked side of him due to his, this is seen from his iconography, such as the statues that still remain of him, and they speak more towards his philosophical meanings. The deeper meaning of Isimud can be seen by understanding the basic principles of ancient Mesopotamian philosophy. The mythologies and legends show the personification of these principles, but do not overly express the occulted meanings of those personifications. In Sumerian, he is referred to as Sukal, which I believe is their version of what is now a vizier. And he could, and as the Sukal, he could relate to a human official. He could be related to like a human official for a god, or another servant deity to a god. Normally, the most prominent gods had Sukals, and the ancient Mesopotamians believed that when praying to their gods, the Sukals would present themselves on behalf of that god. Now, the concept of the two-faced gods represent a part of nature that has always existed. This concept is duality. It's the themes of two, so male, female, feminine, masculine, night, day, good, bad. Everything in nature, when you look at nature in general, everything in nature has duality. And it is something that unfortunately we seem to brush under the rug as humans, but in actual fact it is within us as well, that we are dual by nature. And it's why we have the the Chinese have the yin yang symbol, because we do have both within us. Another famous representation of duality in the divine and nature is the symbolism of twins. Isimud isn't necessarily a twin, but he has the two faces. But one could link the associate Isimud to twins, even conjoined twins due to his two faces. As we keep reading more, we discover more about the dualities of the different cultures that were found in Mesopotamia at this time. So the ancient Mesopotamians are our earliest known source documenting this duality in a deity. The effect of duality being represented as a deity seemed to have started from the Mesopotamians down to the Romans with Janus, the ancient Roman deity who has a similar personification as Isimud. Much like the Roman god Janus, with whom he is often compared, Isimud was a deity of thresholds and new beginnings, whether standing at the literal gates of a temple or guiding divine plans. His role emphasized the moments where one phase ends and the other begins. So I guess you could also say possibly as a god of crossroads as well, because we kind of come against this when we're at a crossroads in our life. Which way do we go? His relationship with time and beginnings reinforces his role as a mediator and protector of change. He stood at the crossroads of past and future, ensuring smooth transitions and guiding the gods through pivotal moments. The name of Isimud resonated softly yet deeply through the sacred spaces of Mesopotamian worship. Though he didn't have the grand temples like the greater gods, I guess you could say, his presence was graced in all the holy cities of Uruk and Babylon, and his image guarded the thresholds of the temple complexes themselves. So in essence, while he may not have had his own temple, he was a part of all temples. So some of the sacred spaces of guardianship include Uruk and Babylon, where he was venerated. He was venerated in both of these particular cities, and his influence blended into the spiritual fabric of these religious centers. In the temple complexes, he stood as a guardian deity alongside Nushuka, Papshuki, or also Papshukal, and I'm really not sure how to pronounce this last one, but we're going to say Isangun, which protected sacred sites. Then at the Biteres temple, a cellular dedicated to Ishmud existed within this temple to Anu and Antu, and was positioned near the main gate. The chamber highlighted his role as a keeper of thresholds. And during the Neo-Babylonian period, some scholars suggest that his worship may have begun earlier, hinting at a far longer legacy than we have at this stage uncovered. Temples were not the only places of worship for this particular god. He did have others, he did have other sanctuaries associated with him, such as the Divine Guard. He safeguarded the temple complexes. He was a custodian of order, so there were rituals revoking Ismud, which may have focused on maintaining divine order within the temples, preventing chaos and impurity from entering, and a protector to worshippers. By guarding the temple, he would also ensure that the worshippers could safely connect with the divine, free from interruptions and negative influences. In the New Year festival, which was celebrated like we do now every year, but back then it was celebrated for the renewal of divine order and natural cycles. He took a position symbolizing guidance and protection during this pivotal time. His role and underscored his connection to beginnings and thresholds, perfectly aligning with the festival's themes of rebirth and cosmic harmony. And there was a procession that was held somewhere in November or December where he was invoked as a mysterious ritual. Central to this event was a dramatic procession featuring a sleigh riding a bull. This act likely symbolized submission to divine authority and restoration of balance. However, it could also have been a bridal procession as well, because there were processions in relation to, like, almost like the king would wed the mother goddess every year as well. So this ritual could actually may not have anything to do with Ismud. It could actually have something more to do with the mother goddesses. But I'm sure at some point someone will figure it out and let us all know. So that is everything I have for this particular god. We will be back next week with some more videos. Until then, I hope everybody has a great weekend and we'll chat soon. Bye!